because often we say we're in, I'm committed, I'm all in until it gets hard.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Together We Are Stronger. Leadership straight, no chasers. And when we look around us, we think about the word commitment, and it's baked into everything a lot of times, marriage, trying to do big things. But when we really think about it, when it comes to the actual foundation of commitment, not a lot of people are committed fully to whatever it is. You'll hear people be like, oh yeah, I'll try it. And so the interesting thing is when you say try, you're giving yourself an escape hatch to run away because it may not work out. And so when you think about being committed, like there is nothing else that's going to take you away. There won't be anything that draws you away, but we've seen a lot of people get away from actual full commitment for whatever reason. And so there was actually a quote by Sean Cannell. He said, commitment is the foundation of great things. And if you think about it, that commitment is there to help you push. Because when you are committed to see something through, you're going to continue regardless of the hardships, the ups and downs that take place. But the downside to that, though, is we know a lot of people aren't committed because when the wind blows funny, everybody's dropping off. And so it's the fact that people say they're committed, but are they truly committed? Or is this something else? Are they just trying to sound cool and be like, yeah, I'm committed. I've got this idea. Like I've said, this is my third go around for podcasting. And I've told George, I've told Ron, I've told plenty of people. I'm like, I'm not messing around with this because there's too much that comes with this. And I'm full bore on what we're doing with this. And so my commitment level is huge. And it works out because I have the tribe around me that if something's going on, we work together, we talk, and it just helps push forward. So, George, when you look at like the function of commitment, people speaking, and you see some people that are like, I'm fully committed, and then like 2 weeks later, you're like, where'd they go? So for you, what is that like relationship that you've seen with people and the idea of commitment?
Well, that's a great question because often we say and we're in, I'm committed, I'm all in until it gets hard. And that's when people lose interest. See, when it's hard and you're not dedicated, you're not taking action on it, it's easy to say it, but it's harder to do it because when you say to yourself, I'm committed, I'm committed to marry Holly and I'm going to be the best husband I could possibly be. 35 years. I'm committed to do whatever it takes to make things happen, no matter if there's mistakes or not. And sometimes what's crazy is I made some notes here. Interest and fades and obstacles appear, commitment digs deeper and finds a way. And it really comes into people give up. People give up before they even start because they hear what they have to do, what they have to commit themselves to spend. It's like, I'll say it for myself. I love to go to the gym, but I don't have commitment to weights. So I got to figure something else out. And when you are a bodybuilder or you want to keep your body fit, there's a commitment going to the gym, no matter if it's snowing, raining, sunny, you're not feeling the best, you're having a bad day. And you see these women and guys going to the gym all the time. That's a commitment. I mean, that's a true commitment. But when it comes to business, it's the same way. At the first of the year, they put a survey out that there's more memberships at a gym the first month of January, right? And how many people made a commitment? The only commitment they made is making the monthly payment. And it's just, right? I make a payment. If I show up and not, it's no big deal. But people are the same way in business, brother. And it is so hard. it's a real challenge when you're in a relationship, in business, in faith. It all requires commitment. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people lose that perspective and think it's easy.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting thing because there is an item known as mental tenacity. And part of your mental tenacity is developed through what you feed your mind, who you hang out with, the environment that you're in. But it's very interesting because for the world of podcasting, the last statistic that I've seen is the first milestone for a podcast to survive is 8 episodes recorded. And it's a very interesting thing because I shared on LinkedIn. I was like, people don't realize the behind the scenes of what it takes to run a podcast. A lot of people are like, oh, that would be easy. I can plug in a microphone, hit record. But there's so much more that goes behind the scenes that they don't realize, they don't see. And it's a very interesting thing. I think the number used to be 7 episodes, but now it bumped up to 8. But it is one of those things that it goes back to clarity. Because when you're clear on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to bring to the forefront, when the times do get tough, that commitment digs in deep and it goes hand in hand with clarity because when you're clear on what you want to accomplish, it is very hard to take you off track because you know what needs to be accomplished, what you're looking to achieve, and then that commitment to I will finish out XYZ, whatever it is, that's another fuel factor there for you as an individual. And so this goes hand in hand that clarity is that foundational piece that you got to build upon because when you have clarity of whatever you're trying to accomplish, that commitment is going to double down and feed it because it is playing into that clarity piece for you as an individual. So I find it very interesting when you start looking at the correlations here, but there's a lot of people that don't see that and they don't realize where things really glue together and the different aspects of what you really need to achieve big things.
Yeah, you have sacrifices, and that sacrifice becomes an investment that builds trust, resilience, and results. And having that commitment is huge because in commitment you get sacrifices, comes with sacrifices, time, energy, money, and comfort. And I think a lot of people really have a hard time with that. And
Hmm.
it's funny when you brought up a podcast, oh yeah, we'll just tape each other. We got to do this, and that was me
Hmm.
until we all got together, and I watched you and Ron, the commitment you guys put together, and and doing the editing and getting things prepped. There's so much work, and the commitment you guys put in, it's crazy. I'm out here just talking about it and everything else. The commitment, like there's times I didn't feel good when I was, very ill. The commitment that we made and having you say, hey, we can do this. Come on, let's
Hmm.
go. And get me down into the studio to sit down. That's, hats off to you. And that's what that tribe is all about, guys. Again, everything we talk about all comes together because when you have someone who is willing to be there for you through the thick and thin, and it's like you're not feeling too well, okay, hey man, we're going to be on it for 45 minutes. Man, get on it because once you break that, oh, it's tomorrow, tomorrow,
Hmm.
tomorrow, that commitment starts to weaken. The true face in the sense of keeping things moving forward starts to weaken and the commitment fails and everyone falls apart. There's a lot of work into podcasting. There's a lot of work into everything that you do, and especially doing our presentation, what we talk about because it's really off the cuff and it's our knowledge. But a
Hmm.
lot of people don't realize there's sacrifices behind all this. I mean, we do this. We have our meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do our episodes 3 days a week. And we're doing because you're a father. I'm a father. We got children, grandchildren, and we got commitments that we have to make. And I think people don't realize how important it is. And I'll just say this: when you make a commitment to your business partners or to your wife or to your family, your children, it builds trust.
Hmm.
And people trust those ones who keep showing up no matter what. And Scott, that's one thing I have to say about you in the leadership, you and Ron, that commitment that you bring, the leadership, the tone of team loyalty. That's another thing, loyalty. And I just, hats off to definitely you and Ron for keeping things moving forward and keeping the effort. And why I explain about what we go through, it explains to our viewers how important it is when you have a full life outside. Right now outside of podcasts, and we're committed to make it happen.
Hmm.
And like you said, it's your third time. It's my first time, and I was one of those guys. Oh, I thought we just videotape it, plug it in, let's rock and roll. There's more to it. There's a lot more to it, and I am so happy. I
Well,
mean,
the interesting thing is, like, when we did the intro episode, I think we shot that 3 times. But for myself, when I had you come through, you were trying to ask me like for opinions, and you were trying to get me to like direct everything. I was like, it's hard. It's a very unique thing for this type of situation to really explain to somebody because there's so many intricacies for this process. And so I look at it as it gave the opportunity for you to listen, but also get your hands dirty, take that action, and then really see what it was like. Because I couldn't tell people until I'm blue in the face, but it's a very unique thing. You would think that it'd be very simple to gather, but I think we also have the fact of the judgment piece and us as individuals judging ourselves and doing the judging for other people, and it's just making it worse. So the biggest thing is you can't do the judging for other people. Let other people judge. You show up, do what you need to, and everybody's going to have their own opinions. But that's also one of those things that it comes into play is you have to take action because when you have that commitment, if you follow through with it, that starts building that confidence, that starts building that self worth because you made a commitment to XYZ, whatever it is, and you're fulfilling it and you're going through it. So that also bleeds into other things. And so it is a very powerful piece when you think about it, what it does outside of just that one item. And so it's a shift in perspective. And like we've talked about, we see things a lot of times that others don't see. Or like we talk about, everybody's centered to everything. And because you're centered to everything, you don't catch those little things. And part of that comes from just me sitting and listening and watching. Like we've talked about it, we've had other things that we've done before, and we've had people on board with us and they're talking away. And then after they get done, I brought up to you, I'm like, did you hear them say XYZ? And you're like, I didn't catch that. And then when I brought it up, you're like, now I can see why this person was struggling the way they're struggling. But that is also a learned skill set, though. Like we've talked about, like, are you listening to listen and to be present, or are you listening to try to give an answer? And so that's when you look at that, if you know there's a skill set that you need to develop, that takes commitment because you're not strong in that area. It's a skill that you got to develop. You have to have commitment to see that through, to see it grow, because if not, you can speak all you want, but until the action is taking place, it ain't doing anything for you.
Explain. I'm going to add some things to that because, to add what you're saying, a commitment is a daily choice. If you pray every day to the Lord, you commit yourself every day to pray. You commit yourself to read 10 pages of a book. It's a commitment. It's a daily choice. And what's great is it isn't a one-time wham bam thank you ma'am. It's a decision that keeps renewing every day. And what I say about that, if you're doing it small and you're consistent about it, it becomes a long-term transformation for you. So when you make it's again, if you like working out and you've been working out for 4 years straight, that's a massive commitment. But it makes it easier because you already know your mindset is there. I know when I used to run all the time when I was a hell of a lot younger, and man, if I missed a day for whatever reason, man, I was mad because I didn't make my commitment. I couldn't get it done. And I think a lot of times people misalign the values and fair sacrifice and lack of accountability when they cannot make that commitment. And I think if you want to do something, no matter what it is, be an entrepreneur, work for a company, be a better father, be a better husband, be a better friend, whatever it is, be a better business partner. Whatever you feel like you need to do, you got to make that commitment, even if it's small. Every day you're chipping away every day. And what happens is that you don't realize what you're doing because you already are in the system. It's just like our buddy Ron Hour wakes up at 3 in the morning every day and sends us emails at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning every day, giving us updates, what he has done, what's he doing on YouTube and everything else. And let me just tell you, that's huge. Why my Scott and I are sleeping, he's working. And that's a commitment he loves to do. He loves getting things done first thing in the morning. And that's a true commitment. That's something that you can't cheat somebody.
Yeah.
You just got to commit yourself when you look in the mirror. And I think that's a lot of times people lack it. And I mean, we all have it. Don't get me wrong. But I think everybody needs to understand how important it is. It's just like getting a job. How many people I've seen get jobs and show up for, presentation, and next you know, they really find out what that job is, and then they walk out. I'm going to go take a break, and they never come back.
Yeah.
And you keep doing that, it's going to follow you on everything that you do. And I hate to say that, but it's the God honest truth.
Yeah. I wouldn't say not to hate saying that because it's the truth. And so when you really think about it, like Sean had put out, he said commitment is the foundation of great things. If you really think about it, it's just things stacking upon each other. And so those little habits, those little things stack upon each other and add to create the bigger picture. And so to get to great things, it's not an overnight piece. And so it
No.
takes time. And so that's where, like you had talked about, people taking a job and then they skirt out after the intro, the welcome to whatever, and then they take off. So if you think about that, think about the habit that is being created by whatever it is. And then also that does feed into the degradation of your mental tenacity, because if you're letting these little things take away and it's hard, then you will never be able to overcome and continue to press. And so it is a very interesting thing that if you want great things, it takes time, and it's the stacking piece, and that's all this is that commitment to continue to stack and make those little movements, make those little small improvements. Sometimes the improvements are going to be bigger, and then other times they're going to be smaller. But the other thing, though, too, is that I've heard people talk about as you get closer to the mountaintop, there's not these giant, huge improvements taking place. It's just little things. And so that's where I think people forget and they don't see the impact on the habits that they're developing and then the degradation of their mental tenacity because of what they're doing early and not understanding the need for commitment.
I made some more notes while you were talking, and the one thing I have to say is this: just saying commitment does not put you in that category unless you make it work. And what I said, action is the proof. And it's again, in anything that you do and you make a commitment, it's like signing a lease to a new building, going to AA, going to rehab, going into a men's retreat, going anything that you do, you have to make that commitment to make it happen. Because there's so many times people, let's just use biblical in a sense, people pray every day, and then the doors open up, and things are starting to move. What do you think would happen, Scott?
I think you just answered the question there. I don't know. Whatever you just asked, I think you answered your own stuff.
But seriously, when people get blessed and the doors open up, what people stop doing? Making a commitment. Because, life's good. And then when it gets hard and it gets 10 times harder, it's because you stopped. You stopped just because your marriage is awesome and you go through a storm and you don't know what to do and you don't work on it. It happens and things just happen, right? But it's the same thing in life as in business. People get complacent. I hate my job. Oh, what are you doing about it? Nothing. Then stop complaining about it and get to work. Do a better job. So a lot of times people, really don't show real commitment because they demonstrate it, in what they do. And I think when I say I hate saying it because man, it's the honest freaking truth. And I hate saying it because I don't want it's not here to hurt someone's feelings, but man, if that smacks you upside the head, we're speaking your language. You need to step up. And I think a lot of times commitment provides boundaries, what that commitment is. And so, I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's framework, it's about reading, it's about the one thing I have to say about you, Scott, is that you're committed in reading, you're committed in doing Zoom calls and things like that to better not just yourself, but to better the people around you, to better the podcast, myself, Ron, your children. And then I get to share that information. And again, we come back to action, we come back to tribe, we come back to clarity. And, and it's that loyalty and that commitment that keeps us going. And, hats off to you because you are the ones, I mean, yeah. And when I say you're perfect, no, no one is, right? But are you doing what you said you're going to do? Hell freaking yes, you are. And I can't thank you for doing that because you show up every day.
I appreciate that. It goes back. I think we may have talked about it in the student episode of IL Invest, Learn, Teach, but that really is the biggest way that whatever you're learning is going to stick when you're able to teach others. And so that's another aspect that I understand the power of that. So that's why when I'm learning something, I tell other people about it because I want to have it stick more for me. So it's a little bit of a selfish thing. You could look at that, but it's also the fact that there's stuff that people don't know. And so why not share the information, share the wealth, and help others out if they want to? But it also goes back to what we talked about yesterday of I already know that. A very dangerous phrase to say. And if you say that, you miss out and you're only hurting yourself and you're actually impacting others that you should be serving because of the know-it-all. I already know that attitude, which doesn't do you any good. So it's a very interesting thing, because as we wrap up, we've talked about the power of action, and a lot of this stuff really, as we talk, is action driven. And so
Yes.
to have the commitment really sink in, you've got to take that action to do whatever you said you were going to do. And that's the other side of that, though, too, is if you are trying something or you're learning something and it hasn't worked 2 times, you can't give up on it. You have to stay committed to it, because you went after it for whatever reason. So you've got to give it more than 2 shots, because 2 shots ain't going to do anything for you. So that's a little bit of that commitment piece, but it comes back to taking action. And so if you are stuck, you've got to look and say, what am I not committing to through the action that I need to take? And then find whatever that is and start making that forward movement, start taking that action. And so it goes back that the action to take is, if you're a true leader and you know people are stuck, share this with them. And then, as we highlighted, if there's stuff that really resonates with you, the content that's being brought out here, and you don't want to miss any future things, make sure you hit that bell icon, so that way for YouTube, once this is on the audio platform, I don't know how that works, but I know YouTube specific is hit the bell for the notification piece, so that way you don't miss out, and you are going, and we're growing together, and we're going through this journey together. So we always appreciate everyone coming on here, showing us love, allowing us to be on your journey with you, but understand that that's your journey. We're here as a guide. You have to take that journey. And so that's what part of this podcast is for, is helping people overcome that loneliness, not being stuck by themselves to go do big things. So other than that, we'll catch you on the next episode.